So I am finding it hard to sleep right now because it's not that a lot is going on. It's just that I want to believe that there's a reason for it. The more I learn about the Diddy case, the more confused I get because there's all these mentions of these like victims, and yet no one ever reveals the names of the victims. If the victims are people that had something happen to them 30 years ago, why have they why did they not say anything 30 years ago? If Cassie is the victim, why did she not say anything 10 years or 7 years ago? And also why has she, why is there all these reports of her taking a £30 million settlement? If she's taken a £30 million settlement, then the court procedures would not be going ahead and Diddy would not be in prison. If Little Rod's claim has any merit to it, then why is it full of ridiculous allegations as to so and so was at this party and he's a witness to what? To what? I'm confused as to what. To the abuse. What abuse? Who of who? You weren't dating Cassie at that time, and Cassie seems to be the only victim mentioned in that form, and that form, that indictment just seems like the same thing repeated over and over again, and it's there's all these words, sex trafficking and doing things to please Combs and stuff, but it's just a lot of them is transporting. And I could go through the list of a lot of the things on that list and just be like, that's not a crime, that's not a crime, that's not a crime, and so I'm just confused. Taking a prostitute from one state to another to be a prostitute, that's not a crime. So I'm either the jury system is just really screwed up and that they can't tell the difference between right and wrong, and they're assuming that this is a crime when it's not, just because it's against a law that shouldn't exist, because it doesn't make any sense why it would be illegal to give work to a prostitute in a different state. I'm not too sure. If someone's in prison, if people are in prison for just having a friend and being like, hey, I've got a guy who wants work and I'll give you the flight to go to him, and that's his present. My present will be to get to transport you to this person and you can do your work there. That's not a crime. It shouldn't be a crime. So I'm just really confused about it. But I feel like I want to believe that it's a build up to something, like there's a reason for it, and because that would mean that there's logic to why this is happening. I mean, if he's in prison because he's been distributing drugs and there was drugs in his house, well, okay, drugs are illegal and there are a lot of people in prison because of drugs, so that's a believable claim. If he's in there just because of having a huge amount of drugs, more than what's legally allowed, then that would be a reason for why he's in there. But maybe he's also, maybe he has committed something and he wants to go to jail to try and resolve this, but yeah, people are saying that he might be in there for life and stuff, and I don't, if this is the case, he knows so many people, why are other celebrities not coming forward and saying stuff? So there's all these questions, and I'm just thinking of myself, and I feel like whatever he's involved in is the same thing that I'm involved in, only he's just an angel and I'm the real victim, the only real victim. And part of me wonders, is the point of you saying that he's in jail even if he's not, is it the point of that to try and make out that FBI are doing research into the sex trafficking allegation? And then it turns out, in Revelation, it makes it very clear that Babylon the Great makes love with the whole world, and she's kind of like the great prostitute, and that is me. That is who I am. There's something in my spirit that's inspiring songs throughout the timeline, and a ton of rich people and poor people are connecting with me, doing things, helping their career, helping their life, and I'm the only victim really, and therefore I feel like maybe I want a sign of when I'm going to be taken. I'm in some sort of spiritual prison where lots of people know about me, but they're all sworn to secrecy, about who Babylon the Great is, and Jezebel, and Jerusalem, Israel, Dion. It's all a woman, me. And I don't know how I don't know how the build-up's going to be, but I know that when I first get taken, it shouldn't be known to the public. But I want to know when you're going to come. I want a 40-day warning. I would have assumed that the next day would have been Halloween. That's my favourite day of the year. Because it's considering it's the 23rd already, and Halloween is in under 40 days. It means that if anything is going to be exposed about the woman being taken, the rapture of the woman that's Babylon the Great, who's in some sort of spiritual prostitution with all the kings and rich people of the world. If that's the point of this indictment, to try and have a build up to that, then well, why am I not hearing anything about this rapture? And the fact that nothing's happened makes me feel like I might have to go a whole nother winter being ignored and having people not believe me, which is awful. But yeah, I don't know when the date would be. But I feel like I know Diddy is a player. He's a liar for God the Father. And so if God the Father just represents one, a fictional character, or two, it's the rich people with money, maybe they're getting Diddy to pose up as some sort of trafficker or something. Really 50 Cent is the character that represents the trafficker, but that's 50 Cent's negative name. 50 Cent's positive name is just hustlers and dealers, and I think part of his character is to pretend to be a good guy, pretend to get everyone to to try and get everyone to love him, but really he has a dark agenda, and it's obvious in his music that he has a dark agenda, whereas in Diddy's music it's not obvious that he has a dark agenda. If people don't see him as people don't link him to a trafficker, then there'll be obviously reasons why, because it's not obvious. I think in 50 Cent's music, that there's tons of music about him being a pimp and being proud of it and selling out women. So there's obvious claims of if this indictment was about 50 Cent, all you need to do is listen to 50 Cent's music and you'd be like, well, this obviously is the truth. But yeah, it's not supposed to be obvious. It's supposed to be hidden. You're supposed to make him seem like the good guy and see who loves his music. Whoever loves his music either are clearly not listening to the words of his songs, or they're like him and really are sicker than they want other people to know. But yeah, Diddy's kind of like a liar for God the Father, or could represent people who prefer God the Father. But to be honest, I prefer God the Father, because God the Father is a fictional character, but the realistic side of him is he's that the guys with all the money, and money has power here. Money you can do things with, and even if you are sick and evil, I think the world is full of sick and evil people, and therefore you kind of need bad people to get rid of bad people, because a good person would be like, they're bad but they can change, and you would keep believing that they can change, and then you'll keep being wrong, and therefore you need someone to just be like, yeah, they ain't going to change, let's do something about it properly. But yeah, I'm waiting for some sort of announcement that would be an interesting story. If FBI reveal that he is involved in some sort of sex scandaling scheme, and there is one person who is missing, and this person is part of this gang, and we need to find this person, but we can't reveal who this person is, and we're going to, and then they could find, evidence that we know where this person is, and we're going to do a raid on. But I don't know, you can't announce things like this, because people are going to be like, why are you announcing, like, surely you would wait until after the raid. So how are you if you're supposed to tell me that you're going to come to me on a specific day at a specific time, so that I have a build-up, a 40-day warning or something, and how would you expose it to the media, is what I'm thinking. And I don't know, just get a bunch of Christians to promote the rapture is about the only way I feel like I would really know that something is going to happen. But yeah, I think the thing with this Diddy indictment is that if I ascend next June, and I don't know when the fake sacrifice will take place, because that will all depend on when you come to me. I need to be in a right state of mind for me to want to do this. I don't want to... For the world to turn against me, I need to look like I'm happy. I need to look like I've had a good life. I need to look... I need to look like I'm not afraid of people around me, and that's not going to happen if you just come to me now. I'm probably going to always make sure that there's a meter distance between me and anyone else, because I don't trust anyone. I'd love to go to one of these billionaire parties, but from all what I've seen, I'm not going to be drinking anything at these parties. But I might even be carrying a gun around in me just in case anyone tries to touch me. Get away. I'm not in the right state of mind to pretend to be okay. But yeah, so that there could be a whole nother year of waiting. But yeah, if Diddy is not actually in prison, and if he's just in some house and the media is just pretending that he's in prison, well, he's going to have to pretend to be in prison for a very long time, and I don't think that would be set up like that. I feel like him going into prison knowing that he's going to be in hiding for a little while, I feel like that's a sign that if it's all fake, if it's all fake and he's not actually in prison, then it's a sign that my rapture is going to happen soon. But yeah, I don't know how my rapture would relate to Diddy, because I don't think it can. I think the Diddy indictment thing, in a year's time, if you say that there is a bunch of elite people who need to use Christ as a sacrifice, and then kind of you could use the Diddy indictment as proof that whatever circles he's in, they obviously do sex parties or sex trafficking or something like that. If there's an indictment that says that he's doing all this, then the public would be able to believe that, Pink has deleted all her tweets yesterday. Now, I don't know why she did it. Maybe it's because she doesn't like the endorsement of Trump, and because Elon is linked to Trump and getting more and more closer to Trump. Maybe she's taken down the 4,000 tweets to back off from Elon, which is a believable story. But a lot of people are already saying that it's got something to do with Diddy, even though I've never seen Pink with Diddy before. I'm sure they've met, maybe, but I don't think they're close or anything. So I don't think Pink has got anything to do with Diddy. But people are jumping to conclusions and saying that already, which seems quite crazy. But if there is all this stuff going around Diddy and all this, okay, he's being the fall guy definitely, but if there is all this rumours and stuff going about Diddy and all the he's done this and he's done this and he's got all these associates and they're all involved in this, if I was to expose myself as Christ, and then these people were to kidnap me and to put me somewhere and say that all that was done in preparation because it needs to be done to me too, I think a lot of people would 100% believe that, if there are all these rumours flying around that it's been going on for years and years. So maybe that seems to me like the real point as to what's going on with Diddy. All these allegations and all these false. I think it's all people that are all in on it. Jaguar White, I think she's being paid by Diddy to spread all these rumours. Someone would ask why would anyone pay people to make horrible rumours about them behind their back? And well, the answer is he is a liar for God the Father. God the Father represents the people at the top. Okay, they're not God, so that's kind of a fictional character, but he's a liar for the ones at the top, and the ones at the top want people to think that they are capable of setting up some sort of sex ring. Why? Because when I become the sacrifice, to see who wants to hurt me, to see who wants to make me a victim for God the Father's sake, or so they can get into heaven or whatever, Um, they, if people think that there's a crime, there's, hurting this person is going to get them in jail, then they're not going to want to do it. But if they think hurting this person is actually something that all the elites are doing and all the rich people are doing and all the governments are kind of know, and it's a big conspiracy and the governments are all fake, and or the globalists are all fake in setting this up to hurt this person, then they're not going to care about hurting this person because they're going to think that they can get away with it. And so part of the sacrifice of Christ is convincing people that they can do what they want to me and they're going to get away with it. Why? Because that's what the people at the top are also thinking and believing. So I feel like maybe what's happening with Diddy could be a deception of building up this. I mean, it's quite a big deception because it's been going on for a year already, and he's lost a huge amount of business over it and stuff. But I don't know if part of the business is actually to just create this deception that there's all these sex trafficking rings going on in the elites, then technically he might be getting paid for in other ways. And there's also these lots of videos about these sort of conspiracy ideas, and I wouldn't be surprised if these are all also being paid for by the people at the top because they want the public to think that they're bad and evil. But yeah, if you take all the things that I'm going to say, I'm going to 100% support abortion, and if I had a charity, it would be to fund as many abortions as possible, even if the people want to have kids. If they're living in a poor country, have no money, have no housing to look after children, I would support abortion even if it's not really their choice. I'd support forcing people to, you can't really afford this, you've got two other kids, what happens if this child dies? You need to focus on the other ones. I'd be willing to support a charity that supports that. If someone asked me a truthful question, am I responsible for 9/11? I think I would try to stick to the truth. And, I think 9/11 caused a huge amount of people in the Middle East to die. And if overpopulation is the problem, then maybe my higher self allowed this to happen, knowing that a huge amount of people were about to be killed in the Middle East because of this war over who did it, and therefore if someone was to ask me, am I responsible for that? And I would be like, well, I'm God, so I probably am, yes. And I think that there was a lot of good that came out of it. Okay, it was bad, killing is bad, war is bad, but if these people are sucking off my spirit, and that's the reason why I'm suffering, and that's why I've been suffering for 12 years, then I'm 100% for population reduction. But yeah, if I said this to a camera, the world is going to hate me. They really are going to think that I'm the devil or just evil and stuff, and people would want to turn against me. That little Rod guy lived with him for it wasn't 9 months. It was a year and 3 months. I went the other way. I went the wrong way around. It was from September one year to November the other year. So September, October, November, 14 months. So he was living with that guy for 14 months, according to the report. And he was just picking up on all the things that Diddy was doing wrong. Lots and lots of little things. Sexual harassment, I get sexually harassed all my life, and I've never been able to sue anyone for it because it's my job. Sexual harassment is something I experience on a daily thing, and I can't sue anyone for £10 million. But I know if someone was to nitpick all the things that I have been saying, about my support of the population reduction and not helping the poor because they're stupid, and the reason why they're poor is because they spend their money badly and can't appreciate what they have, and a lot of people that don't have jobs do just spend all their time moaning about everything, and they, rather than actually work and just say, I'm just going to accept my position. And if I said all my position, a lot of people would hate me for my position. So if someone was to do what little Rod did to little Diddy and just pick up on, I haven't paid tax. Sometimes I have earned a little bit more than what I should, and I kind of declare a little bit under. Why? Because I knew that I wanted to just not do massage at all, in the first 5 years of when I was doing massage, I didn't work at all because I was living in my parents' shitty flat, and suffering every day because my mum's a hoarder and all these problems. So if you wanted to try and get me for tax evasion, you probably could do, because I know I was making 20,000 in that year that I was paying £16,000 for rent, and if I would have paid tax, I should have paid £4,000 of tax. But if I would have paid £4,000 of tax, then I would have had literally no money to pay for bills or food or anything, because I made 20,000, so I should have paid 4,000 in tax. But my rent was 16,000, and therefore, if I would have paid tax, I would have actually been in the minus figures. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I have done wrong, and if you wanted to nitpick on everything that I've done wrong, I'm sure it would be very easy to make it look like I'm a terrible person, and people would believe it, because a lot of people aren't interested in listening to both sides of the story. They just want to hear whatever side they want to believe on. They want to have their, I'm on this person's side and I'm going to stick with, it's like with the Diddy case, everyone wants to be on the victim's side, even though you have no clue who the victims are. And the victims are what? Little Rod, who got an album and was living in a big mansion and had a good relationship with him, and the victims are sex workers who, according to the story, were happy to have sex with people that weren't consenting. That they're not victims, they're criminals. If this case is even true, and you don't know who these sex workers are, of course, so they're all in the dark. But yeah, so many people want to just take sides, and they don't care about actually analysing what these videos are actually saying. But yeah, technically he might be in jail. Diddy could be in jail. It's illegal. If you are caught with a huge amount of drugs in your house, you can go to jail for it. So maybe he's in jail for drugs charges. But yeah, I'm confused about why he'd be. And racketeering is something that's believable. That's false business. He could say, I can give you this much money for a record deal, and then not pay that person something. So there's a ton of reasons why someone could be in jail for, and maybe he's committed some crimes on that aspect. But yeah, I don't believe most of the claims seem to be on sex and freak-off parties, and I just, if that's the case, then why is no one coming forwards other than Cassie, who's allegedly got £30 million from him, and hence should have backed off by now. But yeah, I would like to believe that this story has a greater purpose, and I think it does. But I'm waiting for people to talk to me about me being Christ.